Welcome to Challenging Torah, a process and project of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue. This week, our portion is Emor, and Mordechai Kaplan, the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism, this is a Reconstructionist synagogue, stated very clearly his belief that Judaism is an ever-evolving civilization. Emor is here to demonstrate that lesson. The holiday of Shavuot, which will be happening in now 5.5 weeks from now, for reasons that we know by counting, the holiday of Shavuot began as a purely harvest holiday, marking the biblical time when they planted the barley harvest from the day after the first day of Pesach to 49 days later when it was harvested and baked into loaves. It reads in the Torah, from the day on which you bring the sheaf of the elevation offering, that day you shall count off 7 weeks. You must count until the 50th day. After you shall bring an offering of grain to the Lord. And on that same day you shall hold a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. Holiday time. Shavuot is one of the 3 what we call Chagim or Aliyot B'Regel, where we came up all the country and made their sacrifices and celebrations of the Holy Temple. But then we didn't have a Holy Temple, and then we didn't have any place to count grain. But meanwhile, we transferred that holiday to being the time of what we call Matan Torah, the giving of Torah. But we still count. So in biblical times, they took a grain of barley and put it in a jar every day for 49 days until they got to the final count, and they knew it was Shavuos. We still count. The Kabbalists in 16th century Tzfat, millennia later, took that counting and now put it into a place of personal introspection. We count these 7 weeks and 7 days in each week, obviously 49, to look at the qualities of our lives. And we are looking at removing what they call a pagam, a blemish. Any blemish that stops those hoses, as the Kabbalists say, those lines of transmission between above and below. Is my anger stopping divine flow into the world? What about my lack of boundaries? What about my lack of compassion? So each week is designated to be the week of equality. These are the qualities of the tree of life. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, loving kindness, judgment, compassion, on through 7 weeks. You need more to know about that. Come to a Kabbalah class. But the important part here is that we are looking at repairing ourselves and taking away our own blemishes. Now, Emor is also known as the portion that speaks of blemishes in a way that we no longer hold to be true. In the words of the Torah portion, no man of you who has a deficiency shall be qualified to offer the food of his God. No one who has a defect shall be qualified. Any man who has a limb that is too short, or who is a hunchback, or a defect in his eye, or who has a boil, or who has a scar, or scurvy, or crushed testes. Defects of the human body. We're looking for defects of the human soul and looking at those ways of clearing them. Biblical times took it much more literally. Now, in an ever-evolving civilization, this is the moment to end this exclusionary behavior once and for all. And we've reached this 20th century. In the 20th century, major rabbinical institutions did not allow gays and lesbians to serve on the pulpit, in cantor or rabbi role. Women have only been apart since the 20th century. And it's been a struggle, and a turn and a change, but we are an evolving civilization. And ours is a time not of exclusion, but inclusion. Sometimes Torah is there so that we can repair its message as well and make it appropriate for the times that we live in. This is a moment when we all stand in the reflections of God with all of our physical imperfections, but we are responsible for our internal spiritual imperfections. This is the work we need to do. And so please join us on Shabbat when we have this conversation, and Shabbat Shalom. And this is the moment of compassion according to our account. So have a compassionate week and a good Shabbos.